live and direct, back on the mic, the MRU podcast with another episode as April starts and the definitive movie season starts to roll in for 2026. Welcome to Movies-aRe-USS, a satire movie podcast that acknowledges life imitates art and art imitates life. So movies are the story of the human and nowadays AI experience. So grab your popcorn and let's talk about The Drama, starring Zendaya and Robert Pattinson. And I've seen a lot of discourse saying this was a bad movie, this wasn't a good movie. And I'm never on here just to be the contrarian. I'm here to give the explanations necessary so that movies can survive, thrive, and be respected for the pieces of art that they are. This movie was great at detailing a very specific romantic experience. And if you've ever, I think the quote is, it's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. Well, if you've ever loved, if you've ever been in a long-term committed relationship with someone, this movie details the specific experience and, in my thoughts, provides a form of visual relationship therapy about how you react when you learn the truth of your partner. Whether you thought you knew them, whether you never knew it, how does that relationship dynamic change, potentially now, forever? The depths that secrets mean to a relationship. And these characters, Zendaya and Robert Pattinson's characters, they're about to get married and this information comes out. But I think more importantly, the commentary this movie is providing is, aside from the idea that you're about to get married, these moments can happen at any time in the relationship. And how do we take care of this experience that often happens in relationships? I think it asks the question, can we care for the children we were? If you're in love with this man, if you're in love with this woman, and you learn something about them unknown to you, that is The Drama, right? The name of the movie, The Drama. Can we care for the children that they were? Can we be respectful for the people that they were, regardless of how long you've known them, regardless of your interpretation of them? Can you rebuild relationships? This movie is not going to resonate highly with people. A24 tends to do this, but I respect A24 because A24 makes movies for real moviegoers, not for you passive fly-by-night people. Shout out Zendaya, shout out Robert Pattinson, because if you put a different cast in this movie does not do as well as it will do based off of them two people being in the movie alone, regardless of if it's as good as a movie. But this movie tests all your cues. It tests your intelligence, IQ, emotional, EQ, SQ, your social, AQ, your adversity. If you're not high in these concepts, if you don't have a proclivity or a natural understanding of yourself to understand your IQ, SQ, EQ, you probably won't like this movie. This movie might feel slow to you. This movie might feel over dramatic to you, although it's The Drama. It might be seen as over dramatic. I love when a movie is dialogue based, right? And all movies have dialogue, but when the writing is mature enough to make the dark joke or to make something that potentially isn't funny, right? And it kind of reminds me of like a Curb Your Enthusiasm level of comedy within the movie to me. That these are kind of serious situations, but the way people are reacting and the statements people are making, you can find slight humor in the conversations occurring in the movie. Excellent camera work. Still shots with pushes, nice cuts. They really drive the emotion of the film. They really make you care a little bit. The camera work to me makes you care, because without the camera work, would you care? I don't really know. Did I even care about The Drama? That's a relative. I don't know that the crux of the drama in this movie was such a thing that it should have been blown up to the level that it was in the film. However, I think that's why the film is more so just evaluating how do we deal with this experience of learning truths of somebody in a relationship. For Zendaya, for Robert Pattinson, I think they carried the movie well. Zendaya is a fan favorite. A lot of women love her. A lot of men love her. I don't know that I personally feel like her acting has ever just pushed the bounds. And I haven't watched all of her content, granted. But for me, and the little pieces I've seen of like Euphoria, her hit HBO show, felt like she was kind of giving a toned down version of that character. If that character has always looking or always escalating something, this character seemed more docile, seemed more avoidant, seemed more willing to kind of get off the gas pedal and like, hey, let's stop. Hey, let's calm down. Hey, and she played that role well. I think the chemistry between her and Robert Pattinson was there. I don't think it was forced. I think Robert Pattinson's actually a very underrated actor. He's always going to be highlighted for his Twilight era, but some kids today know him as the Batman, and I think that matters. He has movies with Josh, really, Mickey 17 has really shown that he knows how to act long after now his rise to fame, his claim to fame, and something that when he hits his grave, hey, people will remember him for Twilight. I think the kicker is, and in this movie specifically, there's a moment where he's dancing by himself, and to me it showed that strength that you could always remember him for that, but let's not downplay how he does act today. And I felt like that's really when his acting ramped up. So between him and Zendaya, they carried the movie well. I think it was a solid acting performance. I don't know that the movie was about the acting though. Like I said, for me, I think the movie was more about the relationship experience. I would like to highlight the photography scene and the photographer, the actress who played the photographer, because in the whole movie, she seemed like the only person trying to save a sinking ship. I had to give respect to her for that. Like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but I'm trying to help y'all. Let's have a good time, everybody. Like, I don't know why y'all acting weird with each other, but I'm going to keep the high energy, high spirits. You're getting married. Let's have a good time, right? And so she definitely provided, I think, an outside looking in perspective of when people don't know what's going on, we're just assuming and want the best for you, hypothetically. And so the drama of this film is hinged around a moment in which 2 people or 4 people are now sharing information about themselves. And it kind of is funny because the disrespect of the situation is the whole point was to not judge each other, and then Zendaya character immediately gets judged. I think that's crazy, right? And so the lady who judges her, mind you, had locked a mentally disabled kid in a closet overnight in the woods. But she's judging Zendaya's drama, right? I think that's crazy, right? I think that was the relationship experience, not between the lovers in the movie, but between the friends in the movie, right? Once again, how do we deal with people when we learn their truths? Do we just turn our backs on them? Do we just stop caring about them? Do we accept maybe why, how, when, where, what is the reasons they were there? And do we progress forward, or do we now hold grudges over things that we weren't directly connected to? I'd rather the drama of this movie than my girl cheating on me. That's a fact, though. Mind you, later on in the movie, there's a character who says her worst thing, her drama that she ever did was cheat on somebody, and then goes on to potentially cheat on her next person in the movie. I personally think there's a question in this movie that says, what drama are you just willing to accept? I would take every other drama piece I heard in this movie over her drama that she's a serial cheater, everybody. That's me. That's Russell. Acknowledge your drama. Acknowledge what drama you'll accept, right? This is what the movie's asking us, and this is why it's going over people's heads, because it's a high-definition analysis of relationships, of information in relationships. This is the question the movies are asking. So when you go check out this starting Zendaya and Robert Pattinson, sit back and think about your past love life. Think about a relationship you may be in currently. You might go see it with a woman or a man that you're with, and you learned something new about them, or you didn't know something about them, and allow the movie to act as the relationship therapy that it was attempting to be to the universal experience of learning something new about your partner. That's what this movie is. This movie was a solid film. This movie didn't feel too long. This movie had great acting. I will say I do think the score could have been a little better. Me personally, I think if you would have went with some more, maybe you could have potentially added some traditional R&B sounds on top of this movie and it make it feel a little more modern, I guess, with the sonics to it. But overall, definitely a go watch. A great start. Yes. Will it get nominated? Who knows? Depending on what else comes out this year, potentially. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know that there's a ton of movies coming out that will warrant this not getting a nomination, potentially. But we'll see. It's early. It's April. We got a long way to go. Well, we're at the bottom of the bucket, where there's nothing left but the kernels. Hop down below and let me know if you enjoyed this movie. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like, share, and leave a comment. Follow us on Instagram at MRU.podcast. And thank you for listening.